This is It's Not in the Syllabus podcast, the how to's of a student beyond classroom walls. This is the podcast where you, yes, you, get to learn what they don't teach you at school and ace that test called life, or at least get a passing grade and get by. It's Not in the Syllabus is a podcast brought to you by the Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies, together with the Student Association, where we feature stories by the students and for the students. Join us as we discover life lessons you'll surely need. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are listening from. This is It's Not in the Syllabus podcast, brought to you by IAS and the SA department. IAS, for those who are not aware, stands for Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies. This is an academic institution in Silang, Cavite, Philippines, and we offer several postgraduate programs from business, public health, education, and also the seminary. So this podcast is really all about knowing the how-tos of a student beyond classroom walls. You know how every beginning of the course we receive a syllabus where everything we're expected to learn is written. Now the things we talk about here are things that we need to know as students but are not taught in class. So I hope that you enjoy this program because it is by the students and for the students. I'm Kimberly Contour, your host for the show, and I'm currently taking MBA program here at IAS. And of course, for our very first episode, we have a special guest, Dr. Doy Cruz. How would you actually like me to call you?
You can say just my name, Joy. You see, Joy is the way people say it in Portuguese. It's
Oh,
D-I-O-I. You mentioned Joy.
okay.
So just call me by my name. It's fine.
Great. Yeah. Very easy to remember because joy means happy in English. So, okay. So, Dr. Cruz, for those, I shall correct myself. We are talking about cross-cultural communication, so I will call you by your preferred name, Joy. Um, can you tell our listeners more about you? What are you doing here in IAS? I mean, I know you come from the beautiful country of Brazil.
Yes.
So, can you please tell us more about yourself?
Yes, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this podcast, the first one. And the topic is, I love it, cross-cultural issues. By the way, I'm married to an Argentinian, and I met her in Africa, where I served for many years as a missionary, for 18 years. And here in IAS, I'm teaching mission and leadership in the seminary. I've been working with ADRA for 10 years. I was a mission president. I was a pastor also in different places. And here in IAS, I'm here working for the last 7 years.
Wow, that is a long time. I bet you're enjoying your stay here.
Oh yes, for me this is paradise. You know, meeting people from so many places and interacting with people from different contexts. For me, it's the best thing.
Yeah. And actually, you are also a student here. Am I right?
Yes, I'm taking courses here, and I like studying. And I'm not taking specific, program or course, or a bachelor or a master degree or something else. But I'm just taking courses to complement my education. I'm studying for the last 6 years. I'm trying to complete a PhD. I finished my doctor ministry, but I'm still trying to complete that other program so I can be more effective teaching in class.
Great. So we have a perspective from a professor and also a student.
Yes.
And, IAS, we house about almost 200 countries in this campus. And that alone is very mind-blowing for me. So we deal with so many different cultures. I mean, how did you find cultural shock? Like, how would you actually define it? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes, excellent question. Cultural shock is painful and enjoyable at the same time. Let me explain why. See, normally, when you go to a new place or when you meet someone who is different from you, you go through at least 4 stages in this process of, adapting yourself or getting understanding of the context. The first one is fun. when you're
Okay.
discovering.
Mm-hmm.
You see new people, new languages, new food. That's the part I like most.
Best part, of
Yeah,
course.
the best part. New food, new fruits, new things, new games, new music, new clothes, new festivals. There are so many things that are new that makes it very fun. It's enjoyable. It's excellent. You say, "Oh, I'm going to stay here forever. I love these people. I love this country." But then suddenly, after a few months or days, you then go to a second stage. It's called flight.
Oh.
It's when you get confused. You look to people, you look how they do things, and you have no idea what does it mean. Why they are angry at me, or why they are laughing at me. So you don't understand their humor. You don't understand what makes sense for them. Sometimes you say things they make no sense for themselves. So then you start like running away, trying to hide yourself. You don't want to go out anymore. You start looking to people in different ways, and then you get like kind of bored. You don't see any meaning in the culture. But then, yes.
And I guess this is the part where you start seeing the differences from the culture that you grew up from. And that's why the initial reaction is flight, right? Like, wait, this is not what I'm used to.
Yeah,
So-
this is the next stage.
Oh, that's the next stage.
the next
Okay,
stage.
I preempted.
That's the
Okay.
fight
Oh,
stage.
okay.
So fun,
Uh-huh.
flight,
Uh-huh.
fight.
Okay.
So when you start fighting is when you then compare your culture with the other culture. Then you say, "Oh, these people, they are crazy. How can they eat with like that? Or how can they say those things? Or how can they just avoid me this way? Or why they don't understand what I'm trying to tell them? Why are they behaving this way or that way?" And then you start having pride of your culture. You start being very patriotic, kind of. "Oh, I miss my country. The ways we do things there. Oh, the food. Oh, the music. Oh, the people, the relationship, my friends, and all these things." So that is the painful part.
Yeah, I've actually spoken to one of our new students recently. And the first thing that he was telling me was everything that's different from his home country. So I think he's really adjusting at this point. And I'm sure you've also encountered some of those things, right?
Oh yes, everyone, we find it, and sometimes it's very sad. Sometimes it's very enjoyable. You can laugh at it for many years after. But then the fourth stage is when then you start fitting. So you can get it very easy. Fun, flight, fight, fun. Fit. The last one is fit.
Fit,
You get
yes.
fit. You start getting fit into the place. So that part is when you make meaning to the culture. You start understanding their jokes, which is a very, a late part of understanding and fitting. You start observing more the details. You start speaking some of their words, their language. You learn to eat and enjoy their food, for example. And then you start enjoying yourself and having fun with this new context, new friends, new... And yes, when you go through this, you experience all those feelings. Unfortunately, Kimberly, many people, they give up when they start fighting. They return to their nation. They say, "I cannot fit in here. My family is suffering too much. I have to go back."
It stops at stage 3.
Yeah, they stay. Yeah. So it's necessary to have resilience and be curious. If you're not curious, you cannot fit. Curiosity is what makes you to go to the market, to the local place, and then find people. And when I came here, I did that. I spent at least 6 months going everywhere. Until I got tired of driving this traffic here is not so easy.
Yep.
So I remember going to the market once, and I asked the question to the lady, how much was, I saw
What were you buying, sir?
a new fruit. I didn't know what this was. And I was asking them, what was this, and how do you eat this, and what's the taste of it?
Is this durian?
No, not durian. It
Okay.
was a yellow, I forgot the name now, a yellow little thing like this.
Lanzones.
Lanzones.
Okay.
Lanzones, yes. So I saw that. I said, wow, this must be delicious. People are eating the streets. And then I asked her, what is this? And the lady looked at me and she laughed and says, "Oh, my nose is bleeding." I look at the nose. There is no blood in the nose. What's wrong with her? I was worried. I said, let me help her, But then I was saying things she couldn't understand, and she was keeping laughing. I said, maybe she's making fun of me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go to the next one. So I go to the next one. I see the lançones. I say, so what's this? How much is this? What's the taste of it?
Mm-hmm.
And then she looks at me again, laughs at me. Oh, my nose is bleeding. Oh, my. And then I was with a friend of mine. By the way, that's the first thing to do. When you go to a new place, find a local friend.
Yes,
That's the
true.
first.
I agree.
Don't go around alone because you're going to suffer much more. Your suffering is going to be, almost impossible. So if you have someone who you have good relationship, maybe someone who already has traveled some places or, they will be able to be your
Translate
interpreter.
for you.
Yes. So he said, no, the problem is that they don't know how to talk in English. They cannot speak English with you. So they say they don't understand. That's how they say my nose is bleeding. And then he explained that there is a hero here in this nation called Pacquiao.
Oh, yes.
And this is because of this, one of the best sports Filipinos appreciate is boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it made sense for me. So then I started saying, my nose is bleeding. when
you don't understand
people. Yeah,
no.
because it makes sense for me, right? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's such a great example of just being able to adapt to the local context, right? And yeah, I mean, I am sure that that is just one of the experience you had here. But I guess for our new students, it's right now it's September, and for the past few months we've been welcoming a lot of new students, and I'm sure as they come from different parts of the world, what do you think are social norms that are specific to Ayas that they should probably know? Yeah. So can you share any of those?
Sure. Okay. Well, first of all, you need to be patient.
Okay.
Patience is the number one. By the way, the Apostle James, for me, is the best counsel for missionaries. He says in James chapter 1, verse 19, he says, therefore, let everyone be quick to listen, slow to get angry, and slow to speak. So that's the rule number one for those who are fitting into a new culture. Be patient, listen, observe, be an ethnographer. Learn the meanings of the words and the way people do things. A friend of mine was telling me about his visit. He's a Filipino. He was a missionary in one of the South American countries, where everyone go to church with their tie, and he was going to sing in that church, and the elder comes to him and says, where's your tie? You are singing today, right? Yes, I'm singing, but where's your tie? You must wear a tie to sing in this church. And then he had his barong. So another elder comes with a tie to him and says, here's a tie. You can put your tie on the barong. So then he fixed it on the barong, the tie. You see, it's ridiculous, right? It looks like. But he was patient. And then another elder comes, but why you are wearing your barong, your shirt, outside your pants? You have to put it, inside your pants and have a belt. And it was not a joke, it was serious. So he was kind of, well, okay, fine. He puts the barong inside. So the barong was kind of a big globe outside of him. And he had his tie and went and sang. This gentleman, this missionary, was a very clever man. He was patient. He could easily say, I'm not going to sing if I don't sing with my barong.
Did you have a picture? I think that would be great to show our listeners.
I wish I could have a picture. So there are many things happening that makes us feel different. And new students coming here, they have to understand and be patient. For example, by the way, Merry Christmas.
Oh, yes. It's September.
Yes, we are.
That should have been our first greeting. Merry Christmas.
Here in the Philippines, people, we have what we call the bear months. So Christmas lasts for 4 months in something here. So we start celebrating and start looking to gifts and looking to preparing things from September until the first week of January. That's the only country in the world celebrating Christmas for so long, which is something very nice, very enjoyable.
Yeah. And if I may add to that, Joy, actually in Ayas, I think I've also noticed that people here smile at people no matter what.
Yep.
When you walk along the campus, the first time I came, I thought people were crazy. I don't know them. Why are they smiling at me? But I realized that was the Ayas culture. And in fact, if you don't say hello or smile back, you're the one who's weird, even if you don't know the person
Yep.
that you are seeing. So yeah, don't worry, new students. If you find someone just randomly smiling at you, it's normal here in IS.
Exactly, and also staring at you sometimes, right?
Oh,
It's something I
yeah.
learned here. When normally in other cultures, staring to other people is doesn't sound nice, you know, like what is looking at me? Why? But here it's very normal. You go to a mall, you go to a shop, especially if you're a foreigner and you
Yes.
look a little different. People just look at you, and sometimes even turn around and take a self, you know, with you in
Without
the
your
back.
permission.
And no permission. And I say, wow, that's fun. And it happened like a couple of times in SM. And when I see this, I just go to them and say, let's take a picture. I also take a picture with you. So we share time, we share telephone numbers and become friends. But one thing it's important to understand here, and I took me a long time to understand, it's two Filipino words, they call it hiya and pakikisama.
Pakikisama, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Pakikisama
Yeah.
means Filipinos, they avoid at all costs to offend you, to be aggressive, to be confrontal, to confront you with anything. So very often they may be very angry at you or feeling, negative about you, but they will smile at you. They'll be really, nice to you. Because that's the culture. And so this is done to avoid what they call hiya, right?
Yes.
Shame.
Yes, shame.
So we don't make people to feel ashamed publicly here. So when people smile at you, don't believe that this is at the first time sincere. Make sure that it continues your discussion, your communication, your conversation until the people they feel comfortable, and then they become friends. And then one day they will say, "Listen, when you said that, I don't agree with you because this means this and that." So then you are becoming really friends with that individual. So the first impression is very nice, but it may not be the real one.
Yeah. And I guess because you've been here for so long, what do you think? Is there any cultural aspect from your culture that you grew up with versus what you've seen here? Like, what is the most striking thing for you that you were like, oh, this is really weird, but you eventually learned to cope up with it?
Yes, there are many. I could speak for the next 2 hours here, but one, it's a general understanding. It's about the understanding of high context culture and low context culture. For example, I come from a high context culture where, what is high context culture? It's a way to communicate in an implicit way. So the context is important. It's a kind of non-verbal.
Yes. Women are really good at that.
Oh yeah, they are.
And we expect men to be good at it too.
Yes, but you have to understand the codes, the symbols. The problem is that if you are from a high context culture, and by the way, most students coming here, they come from high context cultures, but the meanings of the forms are different. The meaning of the actions or the gestures are different.
That makes it harder.
Oh yes, it makes confusing. So that 4 steps, fun, flight, fight, and fit, takes maybe longer if you are not very curious and observing people how they do things. So when they come here, they have their own meanings for those actions, and they have to explore and understand the new meanings of those high context actions or ways of communicating. On the other side, the people from low context culture, their communication is very explicit. So it's very clear. If they want to drink water, they say, please give him a cup of water. That's it. Now, high context culture, they'll say, oh, it's very hot today. They don't say, I'm thirsty, please give me water. It's very hot today, I'm perspirating here. And then you have to, oh, you want a water, right? Here, some water. Cold or just natural, right? So different ways of understanding, and this take time. It may take long time for you to understand how this function.
Yeah. And I think that's also where the beauty of learning different cultures come in, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because as you say, there are different ways to interpret all of those things, and IS is very conducive for just learning different cultures, trying different food. And so I really enjoyed this conversation. I know we can talk so many more. You have so many other stories, but we'll be ending here, I guess. Just before that,
Okay, yes. Well, I'd like to say to all of you who are new students, those who are maybe here for a long time and trying to fit, there is something that helps you is to eat the food. The local food here are very nice. Pan de sal, puto, halo halo. Don't miss
Balot.
it. Oh, halo halo is the best. Which means a mixture of everything, right?
Yes.
And of course, it's more fun in the Philippines. That's what they say here everywhere. Have fun, go to the beach, go snorkeling, and discover new places. Get a bike. People love biking here. And as Paul, the Apostle Paul says, and many others who were able to fit in different cultures like Abraham, Daniel, Joseph, the Apostle Paul said, I have learned to be content in every circumstance. And that's what I wish for you, that you may feel comfortable in our campus and enjoy the differences and the values in the different ways, in the different forms. I'm sure that you miss this place when you leave.
Wow, thank you so much, Joy. We learned so many things today. I mean, the stages, if you find yourself in those stages, the fun, the flight, fight, and fit, that's all right. That's perfectly normal. And we are here for you. I mean, other students are having the same struggle.
Yeah.
So we are here to definitely help you. And like what Joy said, enjoy your time here in the Philippines because there's a lot to explore. So thank you so much, Joy, and to our listeners, and we'll see you with the next episode. Bye!
Bye.